Hello and welcome to another episode of Big Brother After Snark. I am one half of your... Are you there? Hosting combination. My name is KC, and I think joining us live from our Rocky Mountain headquarters, Lacey. Good to see you again.
Yes.
Okay. Just like every week I say this, big week, but this time it actually is true. Big week in the Big Brother house. I'm very excited about it. That was one of my favorite HOH comps. That style of comp is, my favorite that they do. Who can stand there the longest.
Yeah, but don't get ahead of ourselves. We haven't covered Jason's eviction yet.
Yeah, I know, but I'm excited.
Hold your horses.
Everybody knows, because they've even shown it on CBS now, that James is the HOH, and I'm excited about it. Let me shout it from the rooftops.
Woo!
Rooftop. Okay, so let's go back. James getting evicted.
No, Jason getting evicted. I've been crossing their names. Yeah, I've been mixing up their names so bad. And like the last episode, I think I mixed up people's names like 3 times so bad. Oh well, people know.
I have the hardest time, Jason and James, and I have the hardest time for some reason remembering Shelly's name. Everybody else, I have no problem with.
Oh well, I don't think we're gonna have to remember her name much longer. But anyway. So Jason, what did you think of his last-ditch campaign efforts?
I mean, it was a good try, I guess.
I was glad he did try, and I do think it was a good idea to give his full pitch, like, at the last minute. I do think that was a good idea. I feel like, obviously it's easy for us because we are on the outside. We actually know what's going on. But even, I think, with his knowledge, I think he could have done a better job, and I think he actually did have every chance to stay and kind of blew it.
Yeah, but that's easier for us to say from the outside looking in, and all we saw is what we were shown, too. I never expected somebody like him to just lay down. I would expect maybe a Becky to lay down, or a Jackie, but not Jason.
Yeah, so what did you think of his exit?
What about it was noteworthy? I
don't know. I liked his exit interview. I thought it was interesting.
He did one of the better exit interviews. Of course, a lot of that is more dependent on Julie and how much time they want to devote to him. They with somebody like him, they know he's not afraid to speak his mind, so they'll ask him that type of question so that he will. So Jason grew on me as the weeks went by. I wasn't a huge fan at any point, but I thought it went all right.
Yeah.
He's one that I kind of wish would have ended up in the jury house.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been a good jury vote as far as voting on gameplay rather than anything else.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of people like that this year, though. Maybe most, if not all.
A lot more than some previous years. Sure.
Yeah. So Thursday night's episode I loved it. It was probably the best episode so far this season, due in part to Family Mac.
Yeah, that was
Johnny
fun.
Mac's home visit. Yeah. That was so fun. His brother. That was like so freaking awesome. Yeah. And I want him and his brother to have a reality show. I want to vote his brother into the house.
What? Vote his brother into the house?
I want to vote his brother into the house.
This is just an idea you've cooked up, I take it. Okay.
Yes, I'm wacky like that.
I never know. Your delightful candor knows no bounds.
Hey, they brought in Alyssa. Maybe we will see Junior Mac in future seasons.
True.
Obviously, he couldn't come in this season because he's been watching the show, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you never know. He could, I think we've got to be knocking on the door of an All-Stars, too. So, Johnny Mac himself could be coming back.
Every year, I think they're going to do All-Stars.
Every year, everyone thinks they're gonna, but eventually it has to happen.
It was season 7, which was like 10 seasons ago, but then they kind of threw off the timeline because they brought back All-Stars for season 13 and season 14, so...
I think they've probably run into some issues with, if they're going to do an All-Stars, they're going to have particular cast members that they specifically want back, that they'll try to push back into the house. And I bet they've run into some scenarios where, okay, we want to do it this year, and they contact the people, and they've said, no, I can't do it. And I would imagine that that's why they instead did was the season where like Mike Boogie and Brittany Haynes came back in as coaches and things like that. That's my best uneducated guess anyway.
And the year before that, they did the couples returning. I thought it was there. Do you ever watch a Jeff's little live chat things?
Sometimes.
Jeff
I've only seen a couple of little clips of it this year. I watched it fairly religiously last year.
So Brittany Haynes was on this week, last week, actually. And she said something interesting. Something came up about past winners. Well, people from her season and who she's kept in touch with. And something came up about Hayden Moss was such a nice guy. And she's like, such a nice guy. I was really hoping he'd come back for next season. And then she just kind of like trailed off. And I was like,
really?
Did she just let something slip? It was interesting. Look it up. Yeah. I was like, I wonder if they're starting to try to. And she had already said to Jeff, he had said, would you come back for another season? And she answered immediately no. And just her tone and posturing, it was like it was something she's already answered. Because of her kids, she said she wouldn't come back.
Well, she has the daughter who has the cancer issues, I think.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect her to ever go back into the house. But that's very interesting. I missed that. I'm going to have to find that one on YouTube.
Yeah, see what you think of it. Anyway, we're getting so sidetracked.
Hey, at least we're staying within Big Brother right now. We're not talking about potato chips or
hot dog toppings. Yeah. So.
Okay, so Jason out the door. Moving on, we're gonna stand on a perch where the eagles fly.
Yeah, the HOH comp.
That was and the best kind of comp too.
Well,
for me,
the big guys can't win it.
That's not necessarily true.
That's what I've heard all the previous house guests say. And the big guys always come off those early.
Yeah.
It's something about, like, where your center of mass is, that it's, like, when you're really tall and big, it's, like, impossible. Like, you're putting so much pressure on your arms to hold you up.
Yeah, I can understand that. But, I mean, Clay lasted quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had all those mango chunks running through his system.
I don't know why you have such a problem with mango. Real men eat mango.
Okay. So what did you think of Shelley's deal with James? Did you feel like that was, considering what she knew in the house and what is going on in the house, like that was a smart move on her part or a stupid move on her part? I mean, discounting what wound up happening.
Right. And for those who don't... Well, okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think you're misrepresenting what happened to begin with. Because what really went on was... Okay, we had gotten to the point where the only players left were James, John, and Shelley. Mm-hmm. James and Shelley are standing right next to each other. Shelley's about to fall. So you've got James, who throughout the whole thing has been saying, hey, anybody want to make a deal? Anybody want to make a deal? No takers. Well, now Shelley's about to fall. So she just starts basically whining and crying this deal at James. Like, please, you're not going to put me and Clay up. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And what idiot would have said, oh, of course I'm going to put you and Clay up and give her a little bit more added motivation to stay on? No.
Yeah, James had to take the deal.
Of course. Where James faltered is when he made the noms, he should have said that. He should have said, look, I had it. I was good for another 6 hours on that thing. I wasn't even hurting. You were about to fall, and you start crying about a deal you want to make. Finally, now that we've gotten to that part, what idiot would have said, no, I'm going to put you up? Of course I'm just going to go along with it. Make my night a lot easier. And you want to paint me as a liar now? Welcome to the Big Brother house. I thought Shelley was stupid for even trying. Well, not necessarily. At least, lob the Hail Mary for just in case. No, James would have been stupid for saying, no, I'm going to put you and Clay up, but he also did the right thing for turning his back on the whole deal. John knew he was safe.
Yeah, that was funny.
For dropping. You're telling me that I don't have anything to worry about? Okay, I'm done.
I actually, if I had been in Shelley's place, I would have actually thought that was a smart game move to make, because I feel like she had every indication that she and Clay would be safe under James. James had just picked Clay for the Outback Steakhouse dinner. The whole house had just been wanting to get Austin out. The twins have just entered the game together. So if I'd been in Shelly's place, I would have thought, this is a good week for me to let James have it. Clay and I can both compete next week. We'll be safe this week. Just make double sure by making this deal. I'm actually surprised at how it wound up turning out. And also, it's usually not a good idea to make a deal like that in front of the whole house and then go back on it, because then they don't trust you. But it's working out really well for James. Like, it's working out really well for him, and if he gets to the end, this is going to be a huge part of his pitch for winning.
You're correct. If I had been in Shelly's shoes, she could have played it a little bit more efficiently. For one thing, before you make that type of deal, just as a matter of courtesy, you ask the other people to go into the house. I've seen it done before, and I was surprised, and she thought it was, oh, it's brilliant. I'm making him say this in front of everyone. No. You show your trust in this person by telling everybody else to go in the house. That's when Shelly should have just said, look, you're not on my radar. You're not on Clay's radar. We're not going to put you up. So let's put an end to our suffering here. Either give it to me and you're safe, or just give me the reassurance. I already assume we're on, we're not a target of yours. But just give me the reassurance that you're also not going to put up me or Clay, and let's have this little handshake deal. Make sure we're both, on the up and up. We know what's going on, and we decide who's going to be the HOH now. And I think that would have gone maybe even far enough with James to where he would have said, "Okay, they say I'm not their target. That this might actually be true." But instead of this, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall. Please don't put me up. Please don't put me and Clay up. Do you promise?
That's a good point.
And then, poof.
And that's also what your point is driven home by on Sunday's episode when they went to confront James about putting them up, and he said, "Hey, I was surprised you even were telling me don't nominate you, because I thought we were cool. I already thought we were cool, so why were you even putting that out there? You're the ones who brought it up that I might nominate you." So that goes along with what the point you're making.
Yeah, if you want to play the smart game, instead start putting the feelers out. Okay, well, if I just give this to you, who are you going to put up? Don't just go straight to,
who are you going to put up?
Oh, save me, have mercy on me, even though I've wronged you, when neither one of them has done anything to each other.
No, and Clay, it's really funny that Clay and Shelly are taking the fall for Jason going, because they honestly did not want Jason to go. They're telling the truth when they say that. They didn't want him to go. They wanted Austin to go, and they just went along with it. It was all Vanessa. But we're skipping over something huge. Cause for celebration. People are dancing in the streets. The Battle of the Block is over. And just think, if they had not ended the Battle of the Block, Shelly and James would be co-HOHs, and this whole week would have been completely different. Completely.
No, I agree. Well, wait a minute. No, Shelly would not have been one of the HOHs. John was good.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
He was better than Shelly.
No.
He was better than Shelly. He was better than Shelly, and Shelly felt like John dropped before Shelly did.
I know that.
But Shelly thought she could trust John, and John only dropped once James made the announcement, John, you're safe.
So, okay, granted, Shelly was in bad shape, but I am not... You seem to think that she could not hold on longer. I actually think she could have, because she has been saying to Clay multiple times that she so regrets letting go. She thought they were safe. She has not said, I'm sorry, I could not hold on any longer, so I was making this deal.
Oh, I know she could have held on longer, but, I mean, just watch it again. She wasn't going to hold on a lot longer.
Probably not, but Johnny Mac was in...
She was losing it.
Okay, my opinion
that's why she went into make a deal mode.
Yeah.
When your mind, and that's another brilliant thing by James. He was the only one that started off in make a deal mode.
Yeah.
So that if he ever had to go there, it wouldn't look weird.
Right.
Anybody else who refuses, no, I'm not making a deal, and then all of a sudden, all right, let's talk. That's when you know they're hurting.
Yeah.
She was about to drop.
Anyway.
She showed her whole hand. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, you're not. You're not.
Go ahead.
This has been a really interesting week with Clay and Shelly on the block.
Yes, because I don't know if anyone informed the rest of the house guests. Part of the rules are you're not allowed to put Clay or Shelly on the block.
Yeah, so it's not... I'm PO'd. I'm so PO'd. Okay. I had not made this comparison in my mind before, because honestly, when there's a showmance, I'm not automatically going to, oh, is this Brenchel or is this Jorf? You know, I'm not automatically like, oh, these are just like Brendan and Rachel, or these are just like Jordan and Jeff. On the feeds this week, I saw in the feed recaps that Clay has been trying to sacrifice himself for Shelley multiple times.
Right.
Multiple times he's been trying to get them to vote him out instead of Shelley, who he just met 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking, that is so Brendan. That is just like Brendan.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday night episode, the scene between Clay and Shelley when Becky, the rat, the floater, boring rat.
I meant to touch on that in this episode, too. I'm glad you brought it up.
We'll come back to it. Let me finish my Clay and Shelley point. So when Becky tells them that they're going to go up, and she leaves the room, and Shelley's like, I got to go walk this off. And Clay's like, no, stay here. We got to talk this out. We got to make our plan. Why can't I just go walk around and eat cookies? Oh my God, I was half expecting her to hear her say, Brendan! And him to say, Rachel, sit down. And she's like, this is how you get me mad, Clay. This is how you get me mad. I was like, it's...
How'd that go again?
It's Brenchel! Okay, here's the thing. You don't notice it at first because Shelley does not have an obnoxious personality like Rachel does. But other than that, very similar characters. Sweet-natured. Rachel's obnoxious but sweet-natured. Loyal. Gamer. Winning all the comps. And then Clay is so like Brendan. He's like more like...
Clay and Brendan are a lot alike.
Yeah, they even kind of look alike.
Not so much Rachel and Shelley, though.
Okay, how do you say that Rachel and Shelley are not alike?
Because Rachel, like you said, is so beyond over-the-top obnoxious. And even though Shelley can be annoying at times, annoying and obnoxious are two entirely different things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Shelley does not have the obnoxious persona that Rachel does.
That's the only persona Rachel has.
But the reason... Okay.
And not to mention, Rachel won almost every competition she was involved in.
The thing is, the reason Rachel was not popular, was like hated in her first season, was because she was so obnoxious. The reason she became loved in her second season... She
scaled it back a lot.
People... Oh, I don't feel like she scaled it back at all, but people had seen enough of her and her in enough different situations that they saw underneath the obnoxiousness that she was a great competitor, she was loyal, and she was sweet-natured. She never did anything mean.
She was also honest.
And she
was
honest.
One of the rare honest players in the game.
Shelley is too. Shelley is also. I just think I see huge, and I think that they're attracted to each other for the same reasons Brendan and Rachel are. I think they have the same dynamic.
Brendan and Rachel were attracted to each other because they are both devout scientists.
Well, it's obviously, it goes further than that because Rachel's not dating Bill Nye, the science guy. There's this dynamic, like, Clay and Brendan both like to feel like they're in control and they're, like, the level-headed ones, and, Shelley and Rachel...
Really, they're more like a doormat?
Well, not kind of. It's a weird... And then Shelley and Rachel are both, like, very aggressive, but they like to feel like they have, like, a knight in shining armor that's taking care of them at the same time. It's an odd...
I don't see Shelley being that aggressive. Rachel was aggressive. I don't see Shelley being that aggressive.
Because she doesn't have the obnoxious part like Rachel does.
Probably,
but she is an aggressive.
Probably.
She does have an aggressive nature. She's just not obnoxious about it.
I don't think so.
Anyway, we've beat this horse to death. Anyway, so
the horse is dead.
Becky, boring rat floater. How long is she gonna go? How long is that gonna last?
I'm starting to join the anti-Becky bandwagon with you.
My prediction is Becky goes when she's up as a pawn, and then whoever's up against her is smart enough to call out the fact that she's a rat floater, and then she's...
Oh, nobody is that much of a rat and gets away with it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
There was Andy who won BB15, but we're not dealing with
He was up against the worst competitors ever.
Yeah. She's
so
playing
possibly
the
worst
game.
Season ever.
Yeah. She's playing the Andy game, and Clay and Shelley are her McCrae and Amanda.
Yeah. Nah, I forgot about Andy because he's so easy to forget about. Worst winner ever.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to the guy he won.
I'm keeping my hat on.
But I can't stand him.
Ugh.
I removed my hat. And you look rather silly wearing yours now. But, so anyway, okay, so where did we leave off? Where did CBS leave everything off?
Nominations.
James is the HOH, and he's made the nominations. Okay, so are you aware of all of the veto shenanigans? Yes, we're in spoiler territory. It is official. Are you aware of the veto shenanigans?
Veto shenanigans?
Yes.
Maybe I know who won the
Well,
veto.
and when I say veto shenanigans, I don't. What I mean is they're doing some weird stuff right now.
Okay, talk.
Okay, so do you know what Shelly is doing right now?
Doing right now? What's she doing?
She has to like walk around with a sword
yeah.
and hit and stab these random things. I don't remember how many times.
2,400
But I've been watching
times.
a little bit of it on the live feeds, and it's just really strange. Like I've never seen them do anything quite like that before. I mean, like okay, kick a soccer ball into the net.
I haven't gotten
times
to
or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, that's one thing, but like she has to take the sword and knock this bar off of these things and put it back up, and then go on to the other two. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And then who's the knight in shining armor now?
Jackie.
Jackie's the knight in shining armor, and doesn't Vanessa have to polish her? Who comes up with this?
Proving that you can, in fact, polish a turd. It's Jackie!
That's
Jackie!
ugly talk. Found it.
That was a little late.
I was a little late, but I didn't know you were going to try to make an attempt at being funny at some point in the show. So, but the most important part of the veto is who won.
Your boy James.
My boy James won it.
Again, he's building a great case if he makes it to the end of the game.
He's building a great case if he makes it to the end of the game, and he's also building a great case to not make it to the end of the game.
Yeah.
So, he might be a guy. He said now twice that he does not care about getting blood on his hands. He will wear it like war paint.
Yeah, it is a great line. I think people are going to be repeating that.
People are gonna repeat it. It might put him out of the house, but I don't care. That it's good to see. He's one of the few people who will actually do that. Mm-hmm. But it might also lead to his demise.
It might.
Hopefully not.
I mean, he's got a lot of big targets ahead of him still. It just depends on who wins HOH.
I don't know about a lot of big targets. I mean, really, other than you've got the twins and you've got Vanessa.
Yeah, and Austin.
Only one of the twins needs to go.
For some reason, they see Austin as this huge target. I'm not even sure I understand why, but that's how it is.
You know that James is now thinking about using the veto. It's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen.
He had pretty much dismissed that possibility. I wonder if they've done the ceremony yet. They're supposed to be doing it today.
They have not, as of right now, as we record on Monday the 3rd. They have not done the actual ceremony yet. But the last I saw, unless I missed something, he was considering backdooring Austin, taking Clay off the block. Or it was either going to be backdooring Austin or putting Austin up in order to get enough Austin votes to make sure Shelly left instead of Clay.
Yeah, Clay and Shelly went to give a pitch to James, and James was, like, being really open with them. He kept saying, you know, I'm not saying I won't change my mind. He kept saying, like, give me some evidence of something that's gonna, they kept going back and forth, and Clay and Shelly would not, like, you would think they're walking out the door as a couple. I mean, one of them's still gonna stay, but Clelly will be no more, so you would think they would just spill their guts. Throw Vanessa under the bus. Throw Becky under the bus. They wouldn't. And even
but Shelly said they were going to, basically, at the nomination ceremony.
Yeah, and then they didn't. And even Meg was in the room, and when they left, James is like, they wouldn't tell me anything. And Meg's like, yeah, get rid of them. So they had their chance, and they blew it. I don't know why nobody's calling out Vanessa. And Shelly was saying, I'm not going to call out Becky because she's the one who warned us we were going on the block, so I'm not going to do that to her. Again, similar to Rachel, this loyalty and honesty, and so yeah, it's weird. They had their chance. I'm pretty sure they blew it. We'll see. I mean, I'm still excited to see the results of the power veto ceremony, but I'm assuming we know what it is. And it's so funny because the whole house is planning on voting Shelly out, and she seems to not know that, and she's been talking all week just like assuming Clay's going. Like, she's just talking about the fact that he's going.
And that's hilarious.
It is hilarious. I hope that they surprise them. I don't think they will, but I hope they do.
No, that'll be one where if they're both up, I mean, really, they would have no reason not to. It would just be for our pure entertainment. They'll tell them. They'll tell them who's going home.
Yeah.
I wish it wouldn't happen. So, you care to make a uneducated prediction on whether or not James is going to use the veto?
James is not going to use the veto.
Just to go against you, I'll say James is going to use the veto and he's going to put up Austin.
Okay.
Just to make things interesting, we have a prediction. Can I put it in the bank?
Put it in the bank.
Put it in the bank. The bank is broken.
But they're my tuppence.
I found the bank. You have to do the rest of the show by yourself.
That was really sad. Okay, so...
It's the worst bank ever.
How about this, Kevin? We have not seen a takeover in over a week.
I forgot about that. Apparently the game's going the way they want it to.
Exactly. So, does CBS want the only showmance of the season walking out the door this week?
Yes. Because the best weeks of Big Brother are when there is an equal balance of power, and this will help keep the power balanced a little bit better. You've got fairly close to a balance going to happen after one of the two is out the door.
So here's a question. Going back to your earlier prediction, does Clay go straight to sequester and compete with the next house guest to go back in? Or Shelly, whichever one of them.
Ah, I like the way you think. That would be interesting.
It would be very interesting. Especially if the next one is one of the twins.
When does jury start? Next week?
Yeah, the jury is now. Everybody in the house
is now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's the same as previous years. I mean, they haven't announced that, but yeah. That's what people have been saying.
I like where you're going with that.
I mean, okay, no. I said that wrong. Whoever leaves this week is the last person not going to jury.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought we had one more week to go to get there.
So, here's the thing. Whoever gets evicted, we will know Thursday night, because CBS might not necessarily announce it Thursday night, but if they do the soft exit, like with only playing videos that don't give anything away, Julie doing a careful interview that doesn't give anything away, then we'll know that person's going to sequester, and there's going to be a little surprise for us next week.
Care to make a prediction?
I predict that that's what's going to happen because I really want that to happen. I love that kind of twist. I think it's so much fun.
I have been saying all season long that at some point this year, somebody is going to get brought back into the house because those are the best weeks of Big Brother. Can I put it in the bank?
Put it in the bank!
Put it in the bank.
Ooh.
It worked.
Yeah.
My cash register was broken. I fixed it.
So yeah, I'm interested. I feel like CBS is going to do something. I mean, obviously they have more takeovers up their sleeve. We know that. And I feel like this is going to be an interesting, this week, next week is going to be a pivotal time to do something zany and wacky.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that though, because it hadn't really crossed my mind. The weekly takeover, the biggest twist of the summer, every week there's going to be a takeover. No, not lately.
And they didn't even mention it. They could have even mentioned it when they brought in Julia, and they're like, "Oh, now we're resetting the game." They could have said,
and they
"No
could
more
have done
takeovers."
Your favorite. It's time for another takeover.
But it's like they not only are not doing the takeover, they're acting like the takeover never existed. It's weird.
Right.
So, any thoughts on how the Liz, Austin, Julia thing has continued on?
I was watching a little bit more of that this morning. I think the clips I was watching were from Friday though, so I'm not totally up to speed on where it might have gone since then. But the whole thing is just I can't figure it out. I can't figure out where it and how it's gonna play out. I think the one thing I know for sure, I don't think Julia likes Austin.
Julia loathes.
In any capacity.
Austin.
And I don't think Austin likes Julia in any capacity.
Mm-mm.
And I think that is probably the most important thing to know right now, because you're not going to split up Julia and Liz without making one of them angry. So
it's not making both of them angry.
Well, I was referring to whichever one's remains.
Yeah.
So I think the Liz and Austin thing, regardless of where it is now, it's not going anywhere, and it's not going to play into anyone's favor, specifically Austin.
Yeah, no. Shortly after Julia entered the house as herself, she was recorded as saying privately to Liz, you know your allegiance is to me and not to Austin, right? Now, why would Julia feel the need to say that?
Because Liz keeps defending Austin to her.
And because Liz is acting like she likes Austin, even though she's saying
scandalous.
She's saying she doesn't like him, but she's still sleeping in the bed with Austin. She's not sleeping in the bed with Julia, her sister. She's sleeping in the bed with Austin. And you know what Jason said? I'll just let Jason say it, because when he came out of the house, he's been saying, if she doesn't like Austin, then she's a hoe, because she's sleeping with him for $500,000.
For show.
I'm just saying what Jason said.
Nicely done. We're out of time.
Oh.
That snuck up on us, didn't it?
Like a fish.
We actually ran over our allotment by a little bit. So, before we go, though, who would you rather see out of the house? Out of Clay, Shelley, or Austin? Let's out of those three.
Oh,
rank
Austin.
them in you want to see Austin go before Clay or Shelley?
Hands down. And then, but if it's Clay and Shelley still on the block, I would actually rather see Clay go, just because I think Clay's going to be boring left in the house and Shelley's going to be interesting. And also, Vanessa is campaigning hard to keep Shelley, so just so you know.
As a botched saying, hell hath no wrath like unto scorned women, etc. So, yeah, I would rather see Shelley still in the house, just to shake things up.
Yeah.
But in order, yeah, I'd like to see Austin go, just because he's really annoying and I can't stand him. But I'd also like to see Clay go, and I'd also like to see Shelley go, but kind of in that order.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook. Big Brother After Snark on Facebook. Like, subscribe and follow and like and download videos and stuff, and look us up on YouTube, Big Brother After Snark.
Put up posters of us on your wall.
That would be cool. If you really don't have a life. And then also, if you'd like to talk to us on the Twitter, hashtag BB After Snark. I think we're done here.
We're done here.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
Bye-bye.